after a while. Let's begin from that, short documentary, feature documentary we just saw by Dr. Don Pedro Obaseki. What are your thoughts about his, zoning arithmetic?
Good argument, very good argument. But there is another side of the divide. There are other arguments. And people are insisting, actually, that the zoning should go to the south. Specifically, the southeast, not necessarily the south, because the southwest and the south-south, they've had their turn. So a lot of Nigerians, a lot of people are insisting that the zoning should be to the southeast. But today, my open letter to the PDP is not actually on the issue of merits or otherwise of zoning. But we'll come to that. But on the issue of zoning, you can argue that actually Nigeria is sitting on three major ethnic groups. The Hausas, the Yorubas, the Igbos. The Yorubas have had, the Hausas have had, the minority have had, the Igbos haven't had. You can argue a lot of things. You can say that the last president is from the north, that's a Buhari. Then the next one should come from the southeast, because that's the only one that hasn't. I've heard a lot of arguments. But what is paramount to me is the interest of the People's Democratic Party, because of the personal travails that have suffered, because of the fact that I believe that the PDP is a national party, because I believe that the PDP can restore order to the nation. First, I think it's improper for me to talk about zoning without bringing to national consciousness the issues at hand. The fact of what happened a few days ago, the invasion of the Kaduna airport, and the bombing. No, Kaduna airport was on Saturday.
Oh, airport. Okay, yes.
And then the bombing of the train, Kaduna train, is a sad thing. And one cannot begin to discuss politics without making reference to the security situation that we have. But that's by the way. Most importantly, before I start whatever I have to say, I need to pay respects and recognition to someone who made a lot of sacrifice, who actually discussed my issue a lot of times and who brought it to national front burner. That's Nnamdi Kanu. It's a pity that he's not here today to watch my argument. The first time that I'm coming to speak on national television for over 7 years. But I respect all that he has been fighting for and all he's saying for. I come from the Southeast. I understand the needs of the Southeast. I know the problem that we have, and that problem cannot be wished away by an invasion of security officials that have occupied the territory. You cannot stop people from speaking their mind. That's what democracy is all about. And that's why I am here today, to speak my mind on the issue of zoning. Now, Dr. Obaseki has made brilliant argument on the issue, on why it should go to the north. Like I said, there are people who have made arguments on why it should go to the south. I support the Southeast presidency. I want the president to come to the Southeast. I want it to come. But that is besides the point. What is beside the point, what the issue is the application of natural justice, equity, good conscience in the affairs of the PDP. You cannot allow people to have campaigned for months, even more than a year, and then a month to the primaries, you want to talk about the issue of zoning. It does not matter whether it is zoned to the north or is zoned to the south. There will be a lot of division, rancor, discontent, bitterness that will make it impossible for the PDP to win an election. I am interested in PDP winning an election because for 7 years I have gone through a lot of persecution because of the fact that I've been a member of PDP. And for reference, let me tell you, just before January 2016, I had several court cases by major APC leaders. I was sued for 500 million naira by Lai Mohammed. I was sued for 500 million naira by the governor of Kaduna State. He even came to court to testify. I had several cases by them. all intimidation. Then he came up with this trump-up card of money laundering of 400 million naira. I have gone through persecution. My health has suffered greatly. I've had operations. As I speak to you, even the investments that I made as a young lawyer in the early 90s is been frozen. I have an interim order given by a court against shares I bought for my kids in 1996, against things I've ever owned, against investments I own in this country. That's a sad thing. That's because I am in an opposition party. I do not wish it to happen to any other person. So my interest is to make sure that the PDP comes to respect democratic principles and ensure that nobody is victimized, nobody is persecuted in this country anymore. That is the most important thing.
Your travels that you've just mentioned, were they as a result of the fact that you are a member of the PDP, who played a major role in those 16 years when the party held sway, and even played the role of publicity secretary, or that you had some case to answer, where there's some kind of substance?
I had no case to answer. I absolutely had no case, and I have no case to answer. I came against the heavy media machinery of the EFCC and the government of the day, and all kinds of things were planted. I have no case to answer. The president gave me an assignment for the interest of the nation. I executed it. I have an account with receipts signed by people who collected money. I mean, they're alive, they're there. Some of them came to court to testify. I mean, these are proven things. And what is money laundering about it? A money that is said, okay, just yesterday, a court ruled that you cannot say that something that's gone through due process is illegal, unlawful, or money laundering. The evidence that the documents that came to court stated that every single thing went through due process. It's money that was transferred from the central bank to my business, to an account that I handle, a corporate account that I have. And the job was executed, and it was for the interest of the nation. And it had to do with the national assignment. So I really had no case to answer. But maybe I understand that at that period, I got involved in a lot of things that kind of exposed the government at that initial stage as being unprepared for governance. Don't forget that I came against the APC at the most, at the time that the government was quite popular, and at the time that they had the instrument of governance. I mean, they were greatly feared. So they needed to show an example of people who wanted in their mind to destabilize them, and to someone who is making an argument to show the emptiness of the government. I really, really, really have gone through a lot. Mockery, damages to my health, my finances, and everything. But today is not about my personal travel. Today is about the future of our nation, the future of my party. How do we save my party? There are people who are arguing that the zoning should be to the north. There are people who are arguing that it should go to the southeast. There are people that are even arguing. What I found so funny was that the South-South had a meeting, and they had the temerity to say that it should be zoned to the South-South because they've supported to the PDP. What can they say about the Southeast? The Southeast has suffered for the last 8 years because of their support to PDP. They've been singled out and ignored in appointments, in allocation of resources, in infrastructural development. They've been ignored by this government because of the massive support they gave to an indigenous of the South-South, the last PDP president, His Excellency President Goodluck Jonathan. And the Southeast suffered for it. And you come up as a zone, the South-South, and you start making an argument that the zoning should be to the South, South-South, because you have supported PDP. There is no zone that supported or that made sacrifices for the interest of People's Democratic Party more than the Southeast. So when it comes to the zoning of which zone that you should go to, it is unequivocal, and it's so clear that it should go to the southeast. But you are now getting me involved in the argument I don't want to get involved. My argument is simple. It doesn't matter which zone that is ripe for the position or which zone that you should go to. What is important is that zoning at this point will destabilize the PDP. My friends, the closest people that are running for the election are from Southeast. Pius Anyim, I contributed a lot in making Senator Pius Anyim Secretary to the Government of Federation. I was National Vice Chairman. I called meetings, I signed documents, and we made a presentation to the then President, Goodluck Jonathan, and he became whatever. And we're very good friends. I listened to him a few days ago. The model that he has about governance and what he will do in government is very convincing. The former governor of Anambra, Peter Obi, was my school father in secondary school. My father handed me over to Peter to take care of me after I came in to CKC as a young boy of 10 years. And I'd lost my mom. So Peter took care of me. I'm close to Peter. He was in my house 2 weeks ago, and he discussed what he would do as a president. And I believe that in terms of accountability, in terms of prudence, there is nobody that is more suited for that as president more than Peter Obi. Everybody will know that. And he comes from the Southeast. But that's an argument of zoning as well. Let us go for the election. Whoever wins, I believe a lot of people will support Peter Obi. A lot of people will support Pius Anyim. Some people will support the former Vice President Atiku. Some will support Saraki. Some will support Tambuwal. For instance, in the history of a legislature, no leadership of the House has done more for the Southeast, for the Igbos, more than the Tambuwal administration. When he was in charge of the National Assembly, the PDP, so the Southeast had a lot of committees. We had every single state in the Southeast that was well represented in the Southeast. And he's from the North. Today we have a speaker from the South. What can you say the Southeast? Where are we in the issue of committees in the House of Reps? So the issue is not about whether you are South or North. The issue is about party position. What is the ideology of your party? What is the manifesto of your party? How do you believe the country should be run? Are you going to run an inclusive government, or are you going to run a divided government? That's why I believe in PDP, in spite of all. It is unfashionable at the time, after going through what I've been through, for me to come out openly and start canvassing support for PDP. The wise thing, the political correct thing, the mature thing is for me to sit down in my house at the worst and refuse to get involved in politics, or to join the APC. It's fashionable to join the APC. But we need to have principles. We need to be determined about what we want. So I will continue to canvass for the PDP, and I will continue to preach that it is the PDP that accommodates all interests, and it is the PDP that will produce the next president that can restore order, security of life, and improve our economy.
So you did write an open letter to the PDP zoning committee, and let's talk about that. But let's lay some kind of foundation. The short documentary we just watched about the arithmetic of zoning, focused of course on the PDP, clearly explains it. Under the PDP 16-year rule, the South, not the Southeast, I know, the Southwest and the South have had their stint at presidency. 14 years accumulated to these two places. The North has had just about 2 years before the demise of late and former President Yar'Adua. That is the fact. What is the content of your letter, and what is the argument that you are pursuing as far as zoning is concerned?
Thank you very much. The fact is incontrovertible that never in the history of our party have we had the array of aspirants that we have at this period in time. We have people who are very experienced, very much prepared for leadership of this nation. We have the governor of Rivers State. He's done quite well in Rivers State. We have the former Senate president and the former secretary to government of Federation, Senator Pius Anyim. We have a former governor of Anambra State who has done so well and who left a lot of money and who handled the economy of Anambra State very well, Mr. P2B. In fact, I joke that now that we are involved in wastages and people are talking about the waste in government and the issue of corruption, that if we have someone like P2B, he will actually refuse to spend the money. He can look at the National Assembly and insist that he will not allow money to be wasted, he will not allow money to be spent anyhow, and he can even stand the threat of impeachment because of what he believes. I joke about it and I believe so. He will save a lot of money for this country. Then we have the former vice president. He's done well, he's experienced, he's a businessman. He's shown that he has friends across the nation. He can lead the country very well. We have the former Senate President, Senator Bukola Saraki. He's been an aide to the president. He's been a governor for 8 years. He was chairman Governors Forum. He did quite well in Kwara State, a lot of things that he did, agricultural revolution and things like that. Then we have someone who is my friend. I make a joke. I tell him that it's like, you're born to rule. That's Aminu Waziri Tambuwa. He came to the House of Reps as an opposition person, became the leader of opposition, a minority leader in the House of Reps. He came to the PDP, became the deputy chief whip. After a period, he became the speaker of the House of Reps. And then he became a governor, and today he's the chairman Governors Forum. So we have a lot of people. We have Samuel Huabunwa, who is a very experienced professional who has done well in the private sector. We have Hayatuddin, someone who, under President Babangida, made some of us to invest in to participate in privatization. I learned the ropes on shares, about shares and participation, and I became an investment advisor with the SEC under the tutelage of people like Hayatuddin. He's a very good person that can be president. And don't forget, we have some other people who are being said that they're qualified to be president. We have the governor of Delta State. He's done so well in Delta. He's quiet, humble, mature. He can be president. We have the governor of Akwa Ibom, who has actually shown that the state can participate in private sector and make it to work. Look at Ibom. Look at what industries is doing in Akwa Ibom. So we have a lot of people that are prepared for presidency. So the issue is not about who are you supporting or who do you want to support. The issue is to create a level playing field for any of them to emerge. And whoever emerges, all of them will support them, just like we did 4 years ago. But if you go and zone, my letter, my dear, is about zoning. If you zone the presidency at this late hour, when people have been involved in campaigns, unlike 4 years ago, when 2 years before the election, PDP did zoning. Today, it's just 5 weeks to the convention. If you come and zone, there'll be a lot of resentment. There'll be bitterness. The people, if you say it's the turn of the South, the North will be upset. They will not even bother about the election. They can abandon the election or have a nonchalant attitude like some of our leaders had in 2015 when we went for the election. They will not be happy about it. And look at what happened in the APC convention. You saw the young man that was told a day before the convention that he should step down for his own position. He was weeping. He was crying when he was talking. I mean, it's actually painful. A lot of politicians who have gone through it know what it means to prepare for a battle, prepare for an election, and at the end of the day, you are told at a later you are not qualified to do that. Then if they say it's the turn of the North, and they zone it to the North, I can assure you there are a lot of people in the South who will not bother to support the Northern candidate that emerged as a matter of zoning to the North. In the Southeast, they will not. In the South-South, they will not. In the Southwest, they will not. So why do we need to create a rancor? Why do we need to get involved in something that is not important? What is important is for us to have a good president that will be supported by everyone in PDP. Zoning at this late hour is unfair, is unjust, is inequitable. It is completely against the principles
are you saying
of
that
natural justice.
the
preamble to our
presidential
constitution, the preamble to our constitution is being quoted that under the preamble to our constitution, there's a case that's been made for zoning. But in the same preamble to our constitution, the founding fathers put it there that we should strive to create a moral social order. Now, are you creating a moral social order by doing something that is inequitable, something that is unfair, something that is unjust? How could we, our leaders, how could the party, the National Executive Committee, the Governors Forum, the BOT, everyone, how could they have been sleeping in 2020, 2021, and they wake up in 2022 and we're talking about zoning? It is too late in the day to talk about zoning. It will create serious problems in the PDP, and it will make PDP unprepared for the election, unprepared for leadership. The APC, on the other hand, I mean, there are theories that some of our leaders have come up with that they bandied about in 2015. Oh, the APC, they are going to disintegrate. Oh, the APC, they have a lot of crisis. Oh, they're going to have problems. They had a convention where they elected an active political mind, someone who I knew very well that organized us as G84 in 2005, someone who was the former secretary of the Board of Trustees of PDP. He is the chairman of APC. He is not a mean political he's not a small political person. We cannot ignore him. He has a track record of organizing things. He's a strong mind. Look at their secretary. Senator Omishore is a veteran. Look at the deputy chairman, an international figure, a diplomat, a mature man, a decent man, Senator Ken Namani. You see, the APC is, I think they're wise people. What they do is that they select people that they believe that are proper to do what they want to do, to go for election and win an election. But they'll tell us that PDP should not have people who are tainted with corruption, people who are not. The other day, 2 days ago, the presidency issued a statement saying that PDP should not have reabsorbed the people who left the party to APC and came back to PDP. What is their business with it? Does it mean that the best materials that we have are those people who left the PDP and came back? Why are they worried about it? They should allow PDP to be. The presidency had no business to be issuing statements about PDP or who PDP will be selected. They should face the security of this country, the economy of this country. Look at the price of naira to dollar. Look at the security. Look at the bombings that have been happening. Those are the things that the presidency should focus on, not the issue of who PDP decides.
All right,
to
Chief Metuh, you said it's too late in the day for the People's Democratic Party to be talking about zoning, and you talked about the need for fairness, equity, and fair play as we count down to the next presidential and general elections in 2023. What do you consider equitable and fair at this time? Are you suggesting that the presidential ticket of the PDP be thrown open, to everyone who aspires for it?
For some reason, the PDP has not zoned for a long time, and it's too late in the day. They should allow everybody to come and run. Let them go and campaign. They are very good materials, and let the people be elected. For me, personally, I'll be very happy if someone from the Southeast is supported and elected. But if the Southeast person loses at the convention, I will support whoever emerges in my party as the zonal. Even if a Southwest person emerges, and that means the majority of the people want him. If he's from the North, if he's whatever, I will support a PDP candidate, because a PDP is not personified by personal interest. Whoever emerges is not going to govern according to only his own ideas. He will adhere to the principles of the PDP, and there'll be collective leadership, unlike what is happening right now. There are a lot of people who make contributions about leadership. A lot of the party leadership would ensure that fairness and equity is applied in a lot of issues, and that merit will be used in the administration of this country. And that is what PDP is all about. So I support a free contest for everyone to come at this time. Maybe last year, I would have insisted. I would have pursued the fact that the Southeast actually deserves it, and it should come to the Southeast. I mean, this is a zone that is about experiencing some kind of turbulence, some kind of a restiveness. There are people in that zone that believe that we should be on our own, that we don't need to be in the country. The country has not been fair to us from 1970, even when they did the 3 Rs. There was no rehabilitation, there was no reconstruction in the Southeast. The appointments under the past military people, the Southeast has been quite ignored. I mean, in terms of infrastructural development, in terms of recognition, I mean, the president had the temerity to tell us 7 years ago that is all about 95 and 2%, or 97 and 5%. He's classifying the Southeast as the 5%. I mean, we have suffered a lot. So last year, I would have definitely have supported the zoning to the Southeast. But for today, what is important is to create the enabling environment for PDP to have a good convention, a rancor-free convention, a convention that will throw up a candidate that will be supported by all the zones of this country. If we now decide that we're going to zone to the South, and we zone to the South, what will the northern PDP members tell their brothers? What would they tell their people? How are they going to tell them that you should campaign for a candidate that was selected because we were excluded at a late hour? It is wrong. It's almost like what the PDP did 8 years ago, when we were campaigning for a national election and we're busy insulting Northerners. We're busy talking about their religion, talking about their whatever, and we expected them to vote for us. Like I say, and I tell people, it would have been equivalent to Obasanjo running for second term in 2003, contesting against Odumegwu Ojukwu, and maybe casting aspersions on Igbo people or insulting Igbo people, and he will expect me to come and vote for him. Although, as a National Executive Committee member of the PDP, I mean, I supported PDP, but I could never have voted for PDP when you cast aspersion on my race or my people. And that's what happened 8 years ago. So are we going to allow the same thing to do? Emotions to build up. Are you going to allow the North to feel that they're being cheated or they're treated unfairly? Are you going to allow the South to feel that there's a domination by the North?
But if we throw this contest open for everyone to participate in, does it not defeat the idea of zoning in the first place, which was muted to forge inclusion and, of course, carry every part of the country along in governance? Well,
very good idea, very good argument, but I don't want to go into it because I have institutional knowledge. I can always argue with you that zoning has only been done once or twice, only in the history of PDP at the national level. I can argue with you that even the proponents of zoning have not bothered to zone in their different states. I can tell you a lot of states, even PDP states, where they have not bothered to zone to include areas where they have not been where they've not had leaders or elected people at the state level. But today they come on national TV and they speak about zoning at the national level. What we learned is that charity begins at home. If you are so minded to talk about zoning at the national level, please go to your state and do the zoning in your state. But that is not what I'm to do. The zoning and ensure that the people who have not tested leadership, who have not tested governance in your state, just come openly and say that you're zoning to them. Then we will understand that you are that you are actually talking about fairness and about equity. But for you to ignore that and come on national TV or come in a National Executive Committee meeting or anywhere and be arguing zoning at the national level, I mean, it's not about personal interest. It is about national interest. That's what we are talking about. So the argument of the zoning can be looked at from any angle. You can justify it. My argument remains that it is too late in the day to talk about zoning. It is too late for PDP to build rancor, resentment, division, bitterness amongst its ranks. Let us go for the election. Let each person canvass. But perchance, we are minded to leave it open. I come from the Southeast. I would prefer that the Southeasterner will be supported. Today, the opposition party have zoned to the South. So we have heard. I'm not a member of APC. But I have not heard that they are zoning to the Southeast. What we hear is that they are zoning to either the South-South or they still go back to Southwest. So, I mean, does it really represent zoning? Is that the zoning that we're talking about? Any zoning of office, any zoning of presidency by any of the political party that does not include or does not specify or signify zoning to the Southeast cannot be supported by any right-thinking Nigerian. If you must zone, you must zone to the Southeast. But if you are not zoning, then allow the best hands to come in. Allow the people to select who they want or to elect who they want. That is my position in PDP. If we must zone, it will not be zoning to the South. We don't need any other Southerner to rule this country after President Buhari. But if we must zone, the Southerner must be from the Southeast. My pastor, let me go spiritual. My man of God always said that the problem of Nigeria is because he is from the South-South. He's from Rivers. He says that the problem of Nigeria is because an Igbo man has never ruled Nigeria. Because he's an Igbo man, is a Southeast person that will manage the economy of this country and treat the country irrespective of whether his own brother or his own townsman is involved. He will apply merit in managing the affairs of the country and throw up parameters that will make it possible for progress. In all aspects
Chief,
of the
like you said, there are any sides of the argument on this issue of zoning. There are merits to it, so that is also debatable. But I also want to ask you about your confidence in your party's ability to galvanize everyone in this decision of zoning to be or not to be. How is it going to go? We saw how difficult it was for the APC to, to organize and hold its convention. It finally did, and a consensus candidate was presented. Some pundits believe that there's some kind of graveyard silence there, and that, there will be some outbursts as the time goes on. For the PDP, is your party able to put every other interest, self, that has to do with self aside, to do what is best, not just for the party, but for the country as well?
That is what we're praying for. That is what I am worried about. I'm happy that you're bringing up this issue, because we have seen pressures that have been mounted to party leaders, party organs, to achieve a predetermined end. I am worried, really worried about the administration of the party at various levels. I come from the Southeast. 3 days ago, my zone had a meeting, and they didn't come up with a resolution that it should be zoned to the Southeast. They were rather bothered about giving orders. They were way beyond the constitutional provisions of the party administration at the zone. The zoning, the constitution states that zoning should be done at the executive level of each position. That means it is for the state executive committee of any state to sit down and discuss zoning. But we had the Southeast zone meeting and giving orders to the zone, giving orders to constituencies. It's way beyond. It's completely against the provisions of the Constitution. Or talking about automatic ticket. 4 years ago, we tried the automatic ticket in Anambra. In the Anambra South Senatorial Zone, only one person, the person from my own constituency, the House of Rep member, won his election. The other automatic tickets that we gave, they failed the election. Democracy presupposes that individuals' rights, the rights of the members to elect their leaders should be respected. So when it's not being allowed, when it's not being done, when things are done as if there is a predetermined end, it is worrisome. I decided to speak out because I felt that for some reason there has been pressure on people who are leaders, people who have been given assignments to go to a predetermined answer. And I know fully well that will not go well for the interest of the party, for the peace and unity of the PDP. And we cannot begin to destabilize our party now, except if there are agents that are working for the ruling party. Then I will understand. If truly our party members are completely agreeable to the fact that we should win the election, they cannot be talking about zoning at this hour. No matter the semantics, no matter how you want to describe it, talking about zoning 5 weeks to the convention, it is unfair, it is unjust, it is capable of destabilizing the party, it is capable of creating rancor, creating division, resentment, and bitterness amongst our ranks. So I do not think we should be zoning. Let us go back to a situation. Can we have a debate amongst our candidates? That is what the party should be talking about. Let us bring these aspirants, let us bring the aspirants to the nation. Let them debate. Let our party members see their qualities, and they should vote according to their preparedness.
Not a bad idea.
not about creating a problem at a later hour for the party.
All right.
I repeat, today, and I want our party members to remember today, if we succeed in zoning, it would be a miracle for us to have a united party to face the ruling party.
All right. I guess not a bad place to anchor this conversation. I want to say a very big thank you to you, former National Publicity Secretary.
Thank you. Well, may I add something?
Of the PDP.
I wrote my letter yesterday. Very quickly, I wrote my letter yesterday. And there's something I find very, very, very curious and funny. A lot of people who made comments are actually from the opposition party. And they're worried and they're insisting that we should zone. Are they insisting because they're involved? Are they insisting because they're concerned? Are they insisting because they think if we zone, that will cause a lot of problems that will lead us to lose the election? Why are the opposition people more interested in our zoning more than the PDP members?
I'm sure you'll get answers to that question much later. Thank you so much, former National Publicity Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Chief Olisa Metuh. It's been a while, but we appreciate that you could find time to be on Kakaaki, the African Voice, this morning. Thank you. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.